Welcome to Spiritual and Sassy, the podcast where we bleed deep soul wisdom with authentic confidence.
We're your host,
Tressa
and Myra, and together we'll explore the mystical side of life, challenge societal norms and programming, and embrace our inner power.
Whether you're on a spiritual journey or just love a little sass, this space is for you.
Let's dive in and light up the world with a little more love. Hello.
Hello.
How are Okay. My cup.
When Myra sees me, she gets so excited.
I know, I can't help it. It's a fucking trauma, probably, stress relief. I don't know. It makes me think of a coworker we once mutually had that just laughed all the fucking time. And now I think about it. Like, how am I reacting? Am I,
Yeah.
So anyways, if you watch this video, folks, I got a new cup, okay? And
I know, I was looking at that.
I love brown. I blame Wyoming.
Yeah.
I love brown now, but it's like a brown checker cup for those that don't watch. And I got it. It sold out online. My niece found it in like a Dick's Sporting Good. And I'm like, oh my God, grab it. You can't find it anywhere. It's like gone. So she did. I don't need another cup. I have 100. Magnolia said to me, she goes, I like the cup. Kind of reminds me of hot chocolate, but it also reminds me of going to the bathroom. And I've laughed so hard. I can't, every time I look at it, I think that, and I just laugh. And it's so true. I mean, it is the color of poop. And I have laughed so hard about it. And, but she's like, I like it, but it kind of looks like hot chocolate, kind of looks like poop, so. But she wouldn't even say poop. See, look, even the episode likes that. They're like, yeah, it does. It looks just like shit, But anywho, that's what also made me laugh too when I was drinking my cup. It popped into my head. I can't
The honesty of a 6-year-old.
Yeah, no filter. Truly authentic in word choice.
That's cool.
No holding back.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no holding back. Good for her.
None. Yeah. None.
Yeah, I was noticing that. I'm like, yeah, I have so many mugs myself. Is it the same brand?
This one
is
no, this one's a Hydro Jug.
Oh, okay.
But
does it lock?
It sure does, girl. But it does the same.
Okay, yeah.
All is fair in love and spill-proof cups.
Yeah, spill-proof is.
And then I've got the other one here too, the one that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I have 50, but I am a brown girl right now, man. I mean, I've liked it since, like, honestly, I'm very drawn to the color maroon. And there's something about like that maroony cocoa color that also comes through in a chocolate where it's like a little bit of purple, like a deep purple, or a little bit of a maroon, or there's a little bit of red, I don't know, like the color of wine somehow also comes through in brown, like in certain variations of the shade. I dig it. So I don't know. I saw it. I'm like, I need it. I don't know.
That's funny.
But it's limited edition now, I guess, because they don't exist online.
Yeah. I love that. They're so good at that with their marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, limited edition.
First come,
one
first
color
serve.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very smart.
Oh yeah. I even follow I have a Kindle and I follow a girl and she makes custom Kindle cases and I love her. I love her, like her account. Like she's just a really fun, no bullshit kind of person and I love that about her. And then it's also books and I love books and I like the same genres and she reads all kinds of genres. She's not just one genre girl, but she creates the covers or she partners with other artists. And so she does like drops and God, everyone in the comments are like, you're killing me, man. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is the perfect one.
Covers. Yeah.
I know. And I have 2. I mean, I don't even know when I'm going to use them. I got like a fall one and a spring, I guess, but then she keeps posting them and I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't need this. So yeah, it's the other terrible part of social media, the marketing side. And I am in marketing and I understand it and I love it. But oh my gosh, they're getting me. She's getting me. She's like, you need this.
It's working.
It's working. Oh, it's working so hard. Yeah. I'm like, oh God, I don't need this one that looks like a ghost. Like who the fuck needs a ghost case? I'm going to use 1 month out of the year, like.
I only use my Kindle if I'm like traveling because I would prefer a book anyway, but so I usually rarely. Yeah.
I've started reading in the gym, which is kind of weird, but I've actually really enjoyed
on the treadmill?
it. Yeah.
Good
like
idea.
when I'm doing a like a walk or a low cardio day or whatever, I've really enjoyed it and it goes by faster than when I listen to music because I love music. I love music. I find great joy in music. And there are times though when I'm in the gym and in my head and it's just not the right headspace for me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really enjoyed it. I read and it's my time and I just kind of kill two birds with one stone also, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I've not hated it.
I'll listen to podcast or an Audible, but yeah, haven't tried actually reading. I don't know if I'm
Blake
coordinated
says
enough for
it's
that.
crazy. Yeah, Blake says I'm crazy
Yeah.
because he's like, how does your eyes not like bounce
Yeah.
around?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I lock in, you know,
I lock it. And he's
it
still on the
works.
machine. That'd be my like, I don't know if I have that much
See, it's
concentration.
like, yeah, it's a lot of coordination and like mind strength. Yeah. I don't know. It works for me. It makes it feel, because I want to keep my heart rate at a certain level and I don't want to feel like I'm stressed out and I hate this and I'm like, "Boo,"
Yeah.
Anywho, so the reading kind of calms my mind too. It's not
Yeah.
as ready for battle. Like if
Yeah.
I listen
Makes
to a
sense.
rap music, you know what I mean? Or like ready to brawl. I don't know. Ready to conquer the day. Anywho,
All right.
other uses for your Kindle, the gym.
Other
So
uses. Take it to the
yeah,
treadmill at your own
yeah,
risk
yeah. For the elliptical, that works too.
with your new Kindle cover.
Yeah, that looks like a ghost.
Oh, hilarious. All right. Well, I think, are you going to kick us off today?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I will.
think you should
Sorry, I
share
feel
your
like I need to.
story.
I've only been drinking water, so I don't even know what my throat's doing. Maybe it's a release. I don't know. But
Might be.
anywho, yeah, I mean, really. But today I had a massage and I have a lovely, wonderful energy practitioner that is also has magic hands. Literally the woman is phenomenal. Anywho, so the massage was great, all those fun things. But at the end, she does tune into my energy, and then she'll usually share, like, this came up for me during the massage, or this came up for me at the end, or, hey, I had this came in mind, and we don't sit there and hash it out forever because it's for me, and that's what it's there for. And she's like, I don't know what do you feel or think or whatever. And today it was really interesting because she said, my root chakra felt really blocked. And one of the blockages in my root chakra, what came up for her was like basically she said, "Did you have a traumatic kindergarten experience?" Or she asked me if I hated school. I'm like, I don't think I hated school because I mastered school. Part of the way I flow through life is a mastery. I want to master something. If it's a challenge, I want to figure it out. Like, what's the recipe to make this work? And I don't really feel like I hated school. But when she kept talking to me about it, she's like, I just kept feeling like she kept doing like a shrinking motion. Like you felt like you had to conform or you couldn't be yourself. And do you still feel that way? Do you still feel like you have to conform or you can't be yourself? She talked about like society and societal rules, like, because some of those things can stem from that foundational of learning, of entering into a school system. And, I do love public school, but this is something that I've talked about before on the podcast. And I've talked, in my own personal life around the structures of school and what school sets us up for in our brains, especially at such a young age, around conformity and rules and
Mhm.
regulations. And that just carries on for, up until forever, in your adulthood and life and on and on. And she brought that up and then she said, like the bathroom, and she talked about the bathroom and she's like, did you ever feel like you couldn't go to the bathroom or anything like that? And to me, I took that as more like feeling like I couldn't express myself. When I think about like the bathroom, it's a release, it's going to the bathroom, or you ask permission to go to the bathroom, which is the stupidest shit in the world to be like, can I go to the bathroom? When you're 5 years old, you probably were potty trained around 3. So you've only been potty trained for like 2 years and you're being told you can't go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom, which doesn't make sense. So probably in my
Yeah.
5-year old brain, rules, regulations, and so forth. Well, I did have a traumatic kindergarten experience. And, Tressa and I talked about it before the episode, and this would be considered a little tea because I've talked about it. I talk about it with my mom all the time. Not all the time, but it does come up. Like, it's not something that I just forgot that I had. I did have a traumatic kindergarten experience. And I thought about it even with Magnolia going to kindergarten. I was
Hmm.
concerned and worried. I didn't want her to have a similar experience, because that teacher, a lot of what that year basically, I ended up getting last that year. So, and then that same year, I told on a group of kids, this convinced me, again, peer pressure, to tell on another student that said GD at the time. And I did. I told on that student. And then when the teacher came back, the rest of the kids said, no, Myra said it. And I didn't. So there was my first situation of being around peer pressure. It was being around gaslighting, for God's sakes. Like that was horrible. And then, and I am very triggered by people telling me I said something that I didn't say, or I did something that I didn't do, and I know I didn't do it. And I know it. And now that I'm talking, I know it probably stems from that experience. And then it was a whole big thing. I had to go to the teacher, I had to go to the principal. I've never had to go to the principal's office. I've never been in trouble like that. I ended up saying my dad said that word and he didn't. So then when I got home, he was disappointed. So there's shame, guilt, worthiness. He was upset. Like, why did I lied? I totally lied. I never
Hmm.
even said it. And then now I'm lying about my own experience because I'm pressured. Like, where did you hear it from? And I said my dad, and I had to write a whole letter about it and how my dad said this word. And he said a lot of damn things. Like, that's not an issue, but it was, well, he never did though. Like, if all it was just the truth. And why are you doing this? And somehow I even got to the point where I said I heard it on Mrs. Doubtfire. Like the dumbest, weirdest shit, right? Like I'm 5 years old,
You're just trying to
like
dig out if you'll
I'm
say
like, holy
anything.
shit. Yeah. Like, what do
Hmm.
I do?
Yeah.
Anywho, so that was it was very memorable. That teacher did get fired after that year. I mean, it was hello and goodbye very fast. So it wasn't just me. There were multiple students, obviously the school system and the school, it was a blessing I even went to first grade or any of the kids did. A lot of kids were held back because of that experience. And so when she was talking, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that totally it happened. And I try to relate, like, okay, well, what could that be or why could that be? And, I never really thought about that experience as it was a bad experience, if you want to label it. I didn't enjoy that experience. I've never forgotten the experience, but I didn't realize the lasting impression that experience had on me. I didn't really think of it as that little T, which is why it's a little T. I didn't base it when I think about all the things that have shaped me. Kindergarten wasn't it. It just was like that fucking sucked. That was horrible way to start as a 5-year old.
Yeah.
And, so that came up for me today. But when she was talking, all I could think about was Magnolia, and I shared on last week's episode and I think another episode about her experience. And all I could think about was, wow, okay, well, this is just a mirror. Like, I obviously have not healed something. One,
Hmm.
there's a block. I'm being called out, the shadow is being exposed. There's a block. And this is something I have not worked through. And now my own child is experiencing this and I said that, I'm like, this is just another pattern. This is something that I haven't healed from that's showing up again because no one's healed from this. Somebody along the lines, whether it be me, I'm the catalyst, or whether it be an ancestral thing or whatever it may be, it's showing back up again because no one's healed from it. And what was even more interesting is Magnolia told me, and I've seen it too, that she just goes to the bathroom to regulate, like not to actually physically use the bathroom, but just to calm down. And so as soon as she said bathroom, I thought about Magnolia. It just like hit me. And I'm like, that's so interesting because with this experience, that is something that Magnolia is tying to it too. Like she is having a hard time. I used to think I was smarter than the teacher, which is ego, but like I would be like, this don't make any sense. Like why am I in trouble for this? Or why do I have to do this? Or why do I have to do that? Magnolia is very similar, like
Hmm.
there's a lot of damn rules. Like I don't want to conform. I don't want to do this. I want to be me. I want to express. I want to have fun. And now she's going to the bathroom just to have quiet time because she's either scared or overstimulated or she's frustrated. And she just did it this week at the doctor and she got really overstimulated and she didn't like the experience. And I found myself, even getting upset. Like, why are we doing this? Like, you don't have to go to the
Hmm.
bathroom. Now, that's something that I did take a moment to say, hey, I realize, I did my own separate thing outside of this conversation with her once I realized
Hmm.
and notice what was wrong with going on in my own personal self that had nothing to do with her. But yeah, so this just is coming up again, and here we are. And I was telling Tressa about it before the episode, and it's like, obviously this is now, when you think of like something's bold to a head, this is like a massive head. Like, it's staring everyone right in the face, whether it be my past or whether it be the experience of my child right now.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's cool that she can help you identify the block. And that's the cool part about the body,
Mm-hmm.
right? The body is always the source of truth because the body holds the energy, especially
Mm-hmm.
blocked energy. And you said some interesting things to me before, and the same thing here is like, you had this experience at 5 years old and you're just like, you didn't give it much thought. And of course, a 5-year-old wouldn't, right? Like it sucked, but not realizing what the experience did in the form of trauma, the little t of
Mm-hmm.
trauma. And obviously, epigenetics then plays a role in that too. Epigenetics meaning that when you start a family line of blockage, you continue the patterns of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what you're seeing in Magnolia right now is similar to your experience that you had in school. She's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
She's having some trauma there, those kind of things. They will continue to play out. But you talked about the teacher getting fired and the situation with the kids and those kind of things. But ultimately, to heal the trauma, you have to feel the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned some emotions around when you talked to your dad because you lied about him, right? You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned some emotions of shame and guilt,
Mm-hmm.
but there were other emotions that to clear the block, you're going to have to feel. I would venture to say one would be betrayal. Like you
Mm-hmm.
expect at 5 years old an adult to treat you in a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe anger, frustration, sadness. I don't know what those are, but those are the things that you're going to have to tune into
Mm-hmm.
to help your body release the block. And the other thing, there are no coincidences. It's funny because you are talking about your root chakra. She was telling you about your root chakra. And
Mm-hmm.
just in our casual conversation when we started the podcast, you were showing your new mug, which is brown, and talking about the specific color of mauve and how much you love mauve, which is a direct color to the root chakra,
Yeah.
right? It's a
Yeah.
reddish color. So there is no coincidences in that stuff.
Yeah.
You're drawn to that for a reason because your body's like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is an area that you need to see a shadow in.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you done or what will you do? Maybe you haven't done anything to help yourself release the trauma in the body.
Truly, I ain't gotten that far, folks. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Uh, Honestly, though, what came up for me when she told me is I probably want to do a ride. For me, I want to do a write and burn, because
Yeah.
so this is obviously there's a lot of emotion, and it was very much tucked away in my subconscious. So I'm not really
Oh, yeah.
sure how I feel about that situation anymore. I remember in the moment, I remember, like, when you think about memories as a child, you have so many after a certain age that just show up, right? And this is
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those
They become
memories.
fragmented to some degree,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is
Over
one of those
time.
memories,
Yeah.
though, that like I can sit here and feel it, think it, see it, remember that day, the whole day as a
hmm
5 year old. I
Yeah.
can tell you the whole day almost, and from the situation to the letter to my dad, like it's a whole sequential thing. Even like there was a student teacher, or not a student teacher, but an assistant teacher. And I can remember those little things, right? And she passed away, but she helped me in that situation. She was an advocate for me. And, I think about her and I remember that experience of having that adult trust in someone, at least during that time.
hmm
So I was thinking of a write and burn personally for me, because then things will come up that I'm not thinking about. And writing is an expression that I connect with personally. So that's where
Yeah.
I was at with it.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. And, you're calling it a little T because of your linear brain thinking, okay, I was 5 years old. It wasn't that,
Hmm.
but it is a big T. And I'll tell you why I know that is because you remember so much detail about it.
Hmm.
Those are the ones that are the most impactful on us.
Yeah.
And so for you, and that's unique to every person, right? I think we talked about that on another episode. You
Mm-hmm.
know, time stands still. You truly become present in the energy of traumas. And those are bigger traumas
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So for you, it was a big deal because you can
It is,
remember
yeah.
every
Every detail.
every detail of that at 5, you know, you were 5 years old. My God, that was
Mm-hmm.
decades ago. 2 decades
Yeah.
maybe for you. But
I'm not 5 anymore.
you know, still. So I do think a ride and burn would be a good thing. You know, that would be one layer. There might be a little bit more. The other interesting part is kind of what you're seeing your daughter do with the expression of going to the bathroom. Not that
Mm-hmm.
she's not using the bathroom, but she's using it as an escape when she
Mm-hmm.
feels uncertain. So there's an energy there of like running away from something, not knowing
Yeah.
how to face
To
something,
manage it.
and just finding an escape route, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what you did. You went into, you were like grasping at everything. I mean, as you told the story, it was kind of funny
Well, a
because
lot
you're
of
like, at one
truly
point,
though.
my dad, oh, then I heard it from Mrs.
I
Doubtfire, like,
know.
I'll tell
Well,
you anything to get the fuck off my case right now. Like, I'll
well,
just, you know?
also to context, the teacher grilled me though. It wasn't just
Yeah, I
it
could
did
see
sound
that
a
and
little
feel that.
like crazy. Yeah, it was crazy, but it was very if you've ever been in one of those situations, I mean, she should have been a cop. Okay? It was like
Yes.
interrogation. I mean, it was at the point where like
Like you murdered somebody.
yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, where did you hear this? You know, you heard this. You said it. Where did you say this? Why do you know this? Like, it was that kind of pressure from an adult. I mean, it was very, she abandoned, I want y'all to know, she abandoned the rest of the class of 20 damn students to go sit in a library with me to type this letter. In what world
And
does that make
and
any
over
sense?
a time, over another student saying, "God damn." Like, am I tracking this right? Okay.
Yes, yes,
Oh my
yes.
goodness. Okay.
Yes. And so, it was the most bizarre school experience I ever had. And especially with an adult and a trusted adult in a happy, everybody else is like paint by numbers shit and butterflies in kindergarten. I'm over here like in prison. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? And it was just, it was crazy. I mean, it really was. It was, honestly, it was insane. It was insanity. It was an adult abusing their power against
Hmm.
vulnerable entity,
Yeah.
and I was a vulnerable
Hmm.
entity. I mean,
Yeah.
literally from cafeteria to the letter, I was convinced and told. Like, I get why people or children are convinced and told to say crazy shit because, or I'm using the word crazy, but not true, or statements or
Yeah.
things get blurred because I had told the story, I told my truth, and then a collective group said otherwise, you know, and it was my word against 5 students. So of course I look like I didn't say it, or you know, or I look like I said it. And I don't even know why they convinced me to say it, you know. I'm like, okay, you know, what did I give off? Why did I get summoned to be the totem? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't volunteer as tribute, but I did. I got sacrificed. And so it was just this whole thing, you know, and you're right. I mean, it obviously is a big T, you know, LOL at me,
Mm.
but like, oh my gosh, I could think of about a million different emotions, shit, things, patterns, everything you can think of happened in this one day as a 5 year old.
Hmm.
Like shame, guilt, pressure, whatever, anger, fear, being taken advantage of, being manipulated, manipulation, pressure. I mean, just all these things like lies, worthiness, hurt, pain. It was just like, I mean, really, like, for what? Just saying goddamn, like,
Exactly. For
it
nothing.
makes no
For nothing,
sense
really.
for
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah. And so, anywho,
Well, for her to, for somebody to do that, they are going into their ego energy to try to
mm-hmm.
make themselves feel superior or better by preying on somebody else. I mean, that's her own, it shows her own lack of value, or her own lack of self worth, her own lack of self love. Not that that makes you feel different. I always
Mm-hmm.
tell people their intention isn't your responsibility.
Yeah.
Your emotion is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, she had some things that she should need to work through. And then, like, when you got home and you were talking to your dad or your parents about it, and then you felt like, because you were very close with your dad, right? And you felt his energy of feeling disappointed in you,
Mm-hmm.
that had to add to it,
Oh yeah.
right? Like, yeah, then the snowball keeps going.
Oh my God, yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah,
And like I
yeah.
remember, and what's worse is it was in a letter. It was in writing, folks. It wasn't even like a conversation.
You
There was a
couldn't
whole
lie.
fucking letter detailing that I said he said
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah.
You can't hide behind that.
No.
So I remember him sitting on the couch and reading it and being like, you know, and I know that as a parent now, I would literally, Blake and I would be like, okay, what? You know, and I mean, whatever, but like, honestly, I would have been like, yeah, I do say it, you know, but he didn't even really say
Yeah.
that word. That's what's so funny about it. Like, of all the
Yeah.
words to choose of the dictionary, that wasn't it, you know? And like, it's so funny. I don't know. Like, I think about, and honestly, too, as we're talking, you know, I've had to deal with Magnolia's teachers now, you know, and last year was eventful. This year has been just right out the gate not great. And it's probably why I don't like rookie teachers. No offense. And I do love educators. My closest family and friends are educators and are in the education system. But it is a struggle for me to put a lot of faith in a first, second year teacher. It really is because of that experience. And it has really lessened, and again, it's my choice to feel this way, but I don't have a lot of faith in that beginning phase. And Magnolia's had two back to back, very young new teachers. And this one this year, you know, I've went and had a conversation with her, and you know, I met with her this week about some other things. And the student that's been bullying Magnolia, we talked about those things. And I don't know, like I can feel like she doesn't want to. I have an expectation of what I think our conversation should be, and she's not giving it to me. She's just being very, okay, yeah. You know, like, and I want a conversation. I want engagement. I want to know. I want to get to the root of this. I want to move on. I want to figure out what we can do. And I'm not getting what I have placed an expectation that's not happening. And, you know, I've had a friend say, well, you're really intimidating. And I'm like, I haven't done anything. Like, I didn't do anything. And she's like, well, you speak very eloquently and you carry yourself in a way that's intimidating. And this has brought up other things, you know, I'm like, well, honestly, my energy probably going into those meetings with this teacher is very strong, heavy. Like I'm going in dominating intentionally in conversation, in energy, in body language. I'm sure I am. And it's probably from this experience I happened in kindergarten because I need the upper hand in this situation because I don't want to feel belittled, the fear, or feel like 5-year-old Myra felt, you know?
Hmm.
And so I don't think it's fair to say that I'm intimidating all the time because that's also, if I'm secure in myself or confident in myself, if someone else is uncomfortable with that, that's not my problem, which is exactly what, you know, she's more than a massage lady, but I feel terrible if she hears this. You're a wonderful person. But that's basically what my massage lady was saying, you know, like I have felt like I needed to shrink myself to conform to society. Well, telling me that I'm too confident or too secure in myself or that I'm too eloquent is me shrinking to fit someone else's comfortability, which we've talked about. I'm not going to do that anymore. But am I carrying a prideful energy? I don't even know if pride's maybe. I'm trying to think of I don't even know what to call it. Is my energy more puffed up? Probably when I'm in these dynamics with these teachers regarding Magnolia. And so maybe so, you know, but as I think about it, it's a protection. It's a protection so that I can't get hurt and that I think they can't hurt my child, if that makes sense. I don't know.
It does. I think a couple of things. One is when you're talking about this individual is now telling you, well, if this individual is telling me it's you're too confident and you're too eloquent, that is their, I would be
Well,
like,
they have
okay,
other issues too. Yeah.
yeah, they have other
They're
issues.
yeah.
But beyond that, like being completely transparent with yourself, you have to, and you said it towards the end of your uh, conversation right there. You're like, maybe you use the word puffed up because you went from the energy of passivity where you shrink, you know, as a 5-year-old,
Mhm.
right? And now you're a grown woman who can be articulate, who has a mind of her own, who wants to come in. And if you're coming in puffed up, you're coming in at a different imbalance, meaning you're coming in
Mhm.
at assertiveness. And
Yeah.
remember, if you can get your energy in that calm, assertive energy, not
Mhm.
aggression, right? That's the puffed up energy. I think it's said the wrong word. And so, yeah, you could pay attention to that. But here's the bottom line. Here's the beauty of it. Like you just was this energy massage lady because she feels energy, right?
Yeah.
She felt
She's
it,
more
right?
than a massage lady.
Yeah, she's an energy
Yeah.
worker. So she
Yeah.
felt it. She tuned into your body. She's very good at understanding what the body's telling her.
Hmm.
She's helping you release this shadow. As soon as you release the shadow, your vibration shifts, and this teacher's never in your life again.
Hmm.
You've already had two teachers show up for you,
Yeah. And I
one
didn't
last
do
year
it
and one
last
this
year.
year. No. And so when you shift and you heal the vibration, you will never have to deal with this again. You
Hmm.
free it from both. You'll free your daughter too, because when one person in the epigenetic lines does the work, it changes things forwards and backwards, right?
Hmm.
And so that's all you really have to do is do the work for yourself. Nothing you're
Hmm.
going to say to this woman is ever going to shift her. You're
No.
never going to get the dialogue you want. It won't happen.
Mm-mm.
But when you go in and you do your work that you've now recognized to break that shadow, to
Hmm.
change that energy, this woman won't exist. It'll
Hmm.
be fun to see if you do the work. Hell, she
Yeah.
could get fired. I mean, I hope the poor lady doesn't die or anything, but maybe she gets
She's
married and
sick right
moves to
now.
Tennessee or I don't know, some neighboring,
Yeah.
I don't know where, but it will happen. It will
Yeah.
happen. I promise you. I've worked with
Hmm.
many clients. I've worked on my own stuff, and it is so apparent how quick when your vibration truly shifts, everything else outside of you shifts. You don't have any work
Hmm.
to do. You don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, it's really cool. And that's the thing, like the beauty of this experience, like this has never come up for me in this form. Like I've talked about it, like I said, when Nola started kindergarten, I brought it back up to Blake. My mom and I've talked about it from time to time. I have never, I even shared it with the potential future kindergarten teacher that I didn't even know that was going to be Magnolia's. Like it was, I met the woman and I told her I had a terrible experience. And so she's like, she said something cheesy, like Magnolia will bloom where she's planted. And I'm like, was that a play on her name? Like, 'cause she's a flower, you know what I mean? And she can, and she will, and so did I. But that doesn't, I believe in that statement. It's not cheesy, but also
Yeah.
I do believe in that you can rise from circumstances and you can truly grow in your environment the way you want to nurture the environment. But I also, as I was saying it out loud just now, it made me think like, I also don't want to tell people too, like, you just have to sit through a shit experience. Like, you don't have to be miserable either. You don't have to sit in shit, like when you think about it, and especially as you get older, when you are less vulnerable, you can change your situation too, like, and maybe that is what it means ultimately is you do bloom, but you don't have to stay planted. So like when I think about that phrase, you don't have to be planted. You can move. You can get potted and you can move to the other side of the sun. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
don't have to
for
be there.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to be there. And you're absolutely right. Like as an adult, you have different options, right? But
Mhm.
you as a mother, like, now this all happened there's no coincidences.
Yeah.
These people have been in alignment in your sphere to help you see this one point of view in this
Yeah.
one moment, right? It's all in
Mhm.
alignment. So ultimately, it comes down to you change your circumstances through changing your own vibration, and then your
Mhm.
circumstances outside of you shift. And we talked about that 2 episodes ago on, what are you feeding into your vibrational
Mhm.
energy, right?
Yep.
What we're always continuing to take in information that feeds our current vibration, but we also have to pay attention to what we're holding on to. And
Mhm.
this is just something showing you've held on to this for 20 years,
Yeah,
26
I
years,
mean,
however old you are, right?
I'm
25
30,
years.
25.
So
It's
25
like,
years.
don't
It's held
don't
on
add
in your
another year.
body, right? So that's a
Well,
beautiful thing. And
yeah, and
like once you kind of work through it, usually when I do that,
mhm.
I come out with this immense gratitude for the people who are the players that help me see it.
I know. I agree. And what's interesting, or not interesting, I mean, it's not interesting, it's divine. It's divinity. I've been going to this gal for a couple months now, and the last time a month ago I went and my hips were so tight. Okay, like unbelievably tight. Tighter than normal. And she asked me, she's like, "What are you holding on to?" And so for a month I've been asking, "What am I holding on to?" show me what I'm holding on to. Help me release what I'm holding on to. And today,
Mhm.
this isn't normal. Like normally it's some like beautiful message. I don't know. But she's like kindergarten. I was like, what? I didn't like that. I want to hear like I'm a millionaire or some shit. I'm dancing
Yes.
through a field of wheat with green flying around me. You know what I mean? Or like I'm a butterfly.
I see you
And
as a beautiful butterfly.
you know what I mean? I want
I
like the
do.
good shit. I don't want to fucking think of a
But we
shadow
all.
from kindergarten. Like, what the hell you mean? And and I've had tons of energy sessions and shit. I mean, it's not shit, it's wonderful. It's magic. But you know what I mean? Like this has never slapped. It's very rare that something has been so slap you in the face. Do you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so I've asked for that though. I've asked for that.
Yeah,
I've
you
asked
have. Yeah.
what am I holding on to? Like I was like, I don't know. I've thought of it. I've tried to think of everything. And then like in that moment, so I give gratitude to her. Honestly, maybe I should tip her more. Like, thank you. Like I and when I was sitting there and it took me to like driving home to be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what? And so, yes, like I've asked for the universe to reveal this to me because sometimes you don't need it so like black and white and point blank, but I did for this one. I needed this experience to be shown to me in a new light. And it's what I've been asking for. It's what we've been praying for. It's what Magnolia's been praying for. You know what I mean? Like, how do I get through this shit? How do I get through this year? How do I move on? Or how do I move on personally myself? And it was beautifully presented to me. So I give a lot of gratitude for her for that because I really don't know. I mean, I'd have got there at some point, but like not that fast. That was just like a very, no, bro, what do you mean? Do you remember this? Like you got to work on this.
Yeah, I think it's perfect timing though. Like
Hmm.
had that happened a year ago, maybe you wouldn't be ready to do the work or
Hmm.
have it be so blunt force, right? There are
Yeah.
times where your journey has led you to where you can handle just that pointed, here's what's happening, here's the timeline, here's what you need to focus on. And you knew right away. You just gave us an all day count of what
A
happened to you. It
replay.
was
Yeah.
a replay, like it happened yesterday, for heaven's
Yeah.
sake. So I think everything is in divine timing, and
Hmm.
this was divine timing for you, right?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be fun to kind of follow the journey along and see
Yeah.
how things transform
Yeah. No, I'm
for
going to start
you.
tonight after the episode. Yeah. Cause I got back from the massage, did some work, and then we jumped on to
Yeah.
record tonight. So I haven't this is the most I've, unpacked it. I tell Blake and he just kind of listens, he don't know. I mean, he hears it and he's like, oh, okay, but this is the most I've really put into it. So after this episode, I'm going to ask, what should I do? What do I need to do? I think I know
Yeah.
what I need to do, but there's more, and what does that work look like for me and my journey? And now that I know what I'm releasing, I can specifically call that out as I'm releasing and ask
Yes.
to release and to send it out, to send it in love. I could even cord cut for God's sakes. Like, obviously, this is a very big T that I didn't think about. And it's impacting my hips, my flexibility. It's impacting my root chakra. It's impacting my security, my stability, my grounding. It's impacting a lot of things that I didn't even realize it's been impacting for 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's those are the gems that are the best. And it'll be interesting. Your body will follow your tight
Hmm.
hips, all of those things will shift as you release it. And yeah, like I told you, you call it a little T. I mean, we can call it whatever. A little T it is, I suppose, because the big T's we're so aware of. Your dad's
Yeah.
death, my dad's
Hmm.
death, my abuse. Those were just no, right? So it
Yeah.
is a little T in the fact that it took you 25 years to uncover it, right? Or to
Hmm.
remember it or to realize the impact that it had on you.
Hmm.
And I think that's one thing that I really love to for our viewers to hear is those things that happen to us in our formative years do matter. They are
Oh yeah.
impactful. So if
Oh
you
yeah.
have a memory like this, you need to dig into it. The more that you can just let yourself understand it's serving you and you've got to feel it instead of judge it, like you said this, right? Most of us just want to blow it off like, oh, okay, kindergarten sucked. I'm going to have to move
Mhm.
on. And we're told that, and we're programmed with that. More than likely your parents are like, suck it up, you're going to first grade now. What happened in the past is in the past. You're not,
Yeah.
that we all got parented like that. You're not
Mhm.
going to change it. So don't cry over spilt milk. I
Yeah.
got told that all the time,
Yeah.
because they are doing the best they can, not understanding that the only way to release the block and the energy is to feel the feeling and be
Yeah.
present with the true raw feeling of it. And all
Mhm.
of those words I just said are just deflection of the feeling, just suppression
Mhm.
of the feeling.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been great.
No, it's been wonderful. Yeah, I just to I guess end on that too. Like I've
Yeah.
done some work recently, and it was a while ago, and I think I even talked about it on an episode where I did a session, and the lady, the protect that I'm so bad. Like the practitioner, these people are beautiful, wonderful humans that have great nobility and gifts. And I am like that woman, but she went back to some formative years for me that I didn't think about either. And it's something that I agree with you 100%, Tressa. Like those memories, it's a memory I've had. Think about those things, and if they don't sit well, what work needs to be done there. And I think some of the earliest things that came up for me were like being abandoned or being alone or afraid or scared. And so I think about that too, especially if you're a parent. Like I left Draco in the car for a second. I did not leave him like alone and to trust me, folks, don't come for me, people. He was okay, but it was enough time that he could cry because he felt scared and alone. And all I could think about was, oh my God, what have I done? And so I just encourage you to do your best. And we all have to do the best that we can do with the tools that we have. And, in moments, like that, or I'm like, man, could I have done that differently? Or in situations, whether it be with my child or whether it be with my spouse or friends or coworkers or whoever, anyone I encounter. And I feel like, hey, maybe I could have done that a little differently or, taken a moment to reflect on that and, work through that and to really show up. And this is part of the where you let your ego go, where you say, hey, I could have been better in this situation, or I comfort Draco and say, you're not alone, you're okay, I love you, you're safe, in that kind of a situation. Or I think about the experience at the doctor's office. I didn't react the best way in my best self. I didn't show up the best way that I could have. And so I had that conversation with Magnolia and explained, and we both talked through that. So I hope that that can help her see, like, hey, in that moment, I am human, I am an adult, or not an adult, but I am human, and I can I make mistakes too, and I'm not perfect, but I can recognize that and I can correct what I can do and show up and be raw and say, hey, maybe I didn't act my best self, and if I need to apologize, I apologize, or if whatever it needs to be, however it could be corrected, whatever that equals, I don't know, it could be anything for anyone. Just letting your ego go and doing that. I think about like that teacher in that moment, she could have come back and said, hey, you know what, I did not react the best way yesterday. I just want you to know that I feel like I could have went this way, and this is maybe, you know what I mean? But she didn't do that, or I think about like in parent relationships where if I would have just screamed at Magnolia for going to the bathroom and made her feel really small and made her feel really unsafe and uncomfortable in that setting, and that what she's doing, or really hurt her, those are those things that cause lasting traumas, and she will remember those things. But I did what I did, but I turned it around, called it out, and brought awareness to it. I was aware, I showed her self-awareness, and we talked through what needed to be done.
Yeah, I think I just wrote down and wanted to say it reminded me of one of the things I fully believe, and I think I've said it on a previous episode around conviction. Conviction is a force multiplier. You can have conviction in multiple ways. I see people who have conviction in the fact that they are never going to say they were wrong. They're never going to have self introspection. It will always have such conviction in they are victim. This person did this person did that. They made me feel this way. You have conviction, and that's what I try to have conviction in the fact that I know what kind of a human I want to be. I know how I want to show up. I know I'm not always going to perform to that level because of fucking humanism.
Yeah.
But what I am convicted to is recognizing it and changing it as quickly as I can,
Exactly.
acknowledging it within
Mhm.
myself. And that's a beautiful thing to have, right? You get to have it
Mhm.
either way. You get to have
Mhm.
conviction. What are you going to have your conviction about? Because it is
Mhm.
a force multiplier. And what I mean by that is when you're convicted to, the more that you do it, the more that you're aware, whatever that is, the more momentum you build towards it. So for
Mhm.
you, with what you just did, the next time that opportunity presents itself, you're not going to have to go back. You're going to react
No.
differently.
Yeah,
You're going to
exactly.
perform differently. Or, you might take a millisecond and you go, oh, I feel it. Nope.
Yeah.
You know, because you have conviction around it, right?
Yeah.
The same can be true, where they just get more and more and more into, nope, I'm going to dig in. I'm going to be
Mhm.
stubborn. I'm going to be right at all costs,
Mhm. Yeah.
So anyway, that was my final little
That was it.
speech.
Yeah, you
That
boated
was
it
it,
up better.
folks.
You did it great. No, that was exactly what I'm saying. What she said. Yeah. So,
Anyway, well, until next time, keep your vibrations way high.
and stay sassy.